Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first class on distance learning module of interviewing and techniques of communication. Now, if you can remember back to class, seems like forever ago, we had worked through different steps within the counseling interviewing process. We talked about effective questioning, building rapport, reflecting content, reflecting feelings. Well, now it's time to move on to the kind of where the rubber meets the road in terms of helping people change and helping people grow. So one of the things we want to talk about this week and next week is the idea of working with somebody for them to identify what they value and then working on the skill of confrontation. Now, when I think back to my counseling days, I think I was really good at building rapport with people. I was good at making people feel comfortable. I think I was pretty good at getting people to talk and to feel listened to. And I think if you think about it, those of us who get attracted to human services like the idea of helping people feel good. Right? Now, sometimes we've talked about the principle of feeling better versus getting better. And we all kind of agreed that whereas it's nice to help somebody feel better, ultimately what we want to be able to do is help someone get better. Interesting thing, getting better often requires not feeling better in the short run, but feeling worse in the short run. Whenever we make big changes in life, that's often very uncomfortable, and people don't like to do that. I think most of us, if we study human nature, what people really, really like is immediate gratification. So the ability to put off feeling good is a challenge for lots of us. So what we want to be able to do within the realm of our counseling relationship is be able to move people towards not just feeling better, but long-term getting better. Okay, so what does all this involve? Well, one of the chief skills in counseling is the ability to be effective at confrontation. See, by nature, most of us kind of hold on to certain stuff that we don't really want to talk about, that we don't really want to look at or put under a microscope, so we avoid it, right? And we have all sorts of defense mechanisms, things that keep us from looking at the difficult things in our lives. A good counselor helps somebody to look at the most important things and gets them to focus on that. Right? So in this session, what we want to do is think about confrontation. Now, when you think about confrontation, we often think about angry people like on Intervention, on the TV show Intervention, and kicking it raw and blasting somebody. And one thing our book does a very good job of is explaining what good therapeutic confrontation is. And what some of the main principles of good confrontation are that it's not done until you've developed an effective rapport with somebody, that it's done gently and tentatively, like you're not 100% sure because you're not in somebody's head. So you confront somebody tentatively. And here's one of the key things, is that it's based on the client's, the person you're counseling's values, not yours. Think about that. It's based on the client's value system, not yours. So somebody might not value being, let's say, a good husband. So when they talk about cheating on their spouse, if they don't value that, is a confrontation of that point going to be effective? Probably not. If somebody values having nice things over being honest and they're a thief, if we confront them on their thievery, is that going to be effective? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. So the very first thing we have to do when we work with somebody and we're getting them towards growth is have them work with us to establish what their values are. In the email I sent, there's some pages, some worksheets on identifying what your values are. And I want you to complete them. It's about 4 or 5 pages of of material to look at, to think about. This would be a really good thing to do in your life. It's just to think about what you value. And there's some basic life areas. There's relationships, there's work and education, there's playtime, and then there's, you know, your spiritual life, whatever that means, whether you're a religious person, or if just what in life is bigger than you that you look towards. And it's good to kind of examine that sort of thing and then see, where are you? Are you living your values? Because what happens is sometimes we establish this is what we value, but if you don't spend any time actually behaving that way, is it really your value? So sometimes there's a disparity between what people say they value and what they actually do. When Gloria, in the video with Carl Rogers, says she acts in line with her values, she calls it utopia. And she doesn't get that feeling enough. And Carl Rogers says, I suspect none of us do. But if you think about your own life, when you're working towards a goal, when you're acting in concert with what you value, that's when we kind of feel whole, right? That's what we want to work on with the people who come to us for counseling or for help. It's also real good in your own life to spend some time thinking about these things. So what I want you to do now is to complete those exercises, right? And also, I want you to discuss or offer me an opinion on what I just said about values and whether you agree with it or not. Send that in the email. Complete the value sheets, right? And hold on to them. You don't have to send them in. And also follow the other directions on the email. So this is a mini lecture, not too painful, I hope. And stay tuned. Thanks.